Well, I
Cool.
mean, I guess I can start us off with some updates, but things are very busy. We're like in the thick of it now. Um, Still not physically as far along as we'd like to be. Like the equipment, we are all set. Like we've ordered everything. We're just now working on a delivery date. And so once we get that date set, then we literally just have to put all this stuff into our stall.
Mm.
We are close enough with branding where we actually requested approval to paint our stall. And so we're going to paint our stall and then hopefully we'll be able to brand it the way we want it to. And so we are going to get approval for that. And we are finalizing our branding actually this upcoming Friday,
Wow.
which is super exciting. Got in contact with essentially all of the wholesalers that we want to be a part of. And now we're just waiting to sort of finalize the relationships and finalize sort of the details around what they offer and what we need to get from them.
Hmm.
So just a lot of sort of moving parts at this point, and so we have we bought another whiteboard that actually is functional this time, and the wheels don't break off, and now we're sort of keeping track on like, okay, what is it that we're actually working on, and like where are we at with this, and just making sure. And now that Jimmy and his name's Tay, but now that both of them are back from, they took a little bit of a leave, and now they're both back in full force. And I think now we're all sort of feeling the same way about just sort of putting our heads down and just starting to sprint on a lot of stuff. We do have a team dinner tomorrow, which it'll be fun. I think sometimes it's good to just like step back and be like, hey, like we're doing great work. Although I don't know if it's a little too early, but essentially we just want to keep the team engaged and feel good about sort of where we're going. Um, so yeah, I mean things are good. Things are moving. As always, nerves are always there. I mean, we actually have an event with Sterling this upcoming Thursday where we're providing like small bites to people that want to come out, and
Hmm.
all the vendors are putting out small bites. I think we're gonna do three of our most popular flavors. We're just gonna do one piece each, and so everybody can do a little sampling of what our kimbap's gonna taste like.
Mm.
And that should be it. I mean, we're super excited to get people's feedback on our new style of roll. It's the flavor is basically the same. I mean, I think the food it tastes the same. It's just that now the rice is on the outside and the egg is a little bit,
Mm.
it's a little bit more round. But yeah, I mean, things are full steam ahead. I'm excited because I feel like we're moving at the right pace now. But at the same time, there's always a healthy amount of nerves because now we're well into October. We basically still have less than a month to get going.
Wow. Oh, that is a lot of moving parts. Wow, exciting though now since you can design your actual place and wholesale's pretty huge as well.
Yeah.
Probably helps with cost cutting as well. How was that experience there? Is it pretty like smooth sailing where you like kind of get to know them, you talk about the pricing, and they're kind of more willing to take on new partnerships, or are they like
Yeah.
selective?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, it's business for them, right? It's like if the more people they get on board, I mean, the better
Hmm.
for them.
Hmm.
Especially like Chungbu. I mean, they're excited because we're doing something that's like Korean based, and so I
Yeah.
think they're very excited to have us on board. I was actually able to meet the president of Chungbu the other day at a Korean event. A very incredibly nice person, and he was basically like, if we ever have any issues sourcing or if we have any questions, feel free to reach out to him directly. And so. I don't imagine we'll need to do that for right now, but essentially it was great to just be able to chat with him and like figure out that we can, there's always avenues if we need to
Hmm.
go down that path. But yeah, for the most part, it's very straightforward. There is like a credit application, so we basically open up a line of credit with them, and then we just say like, "Hey, here's what all the stuff we need." I'm not exactly sure on the details of how we order and like the frequency and things like that, and how fast of
Hmm.
a turnaround time they need.
Hmm.
I think we once we fill out this form and get back to them, I think we're gonna ask for a little bit more details on like how much time they need before they can fulfill our orders and things like that.
Hmm.
And so we'll get a little more information as we go about doing things. I think also the biggest thing for us is we just don't know our volume. So like in a world where we sell like 50 rolls a day, that's very different than if we sell 250 rolls a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And so ideally we're on the latter half and not the former, but the reality of starting during a winter is exactly that. Like you're starting at a time when business is slow, and so we're hoping there's always a little bit of an influx at the beginning because you're new and people want to come out and try you.
Mm.
So hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that. But like the winters are brutal, and so we'll have to see how that pans out.
Mm. And there's no minimum requirement for like making the order.
There is. Well, so there's, I mean, on both fronts. So like the wholesalers, there's a minimum requirement for them to deliver.
Okay.
As long as you're a licensed business, like they don't really care. Like if you come pick it up from them, for them it's just like it's not a big deal. It's just like same thing as grocery shopping. You just get it for, just do it for a business.
Hmm.
But from a sales perspective, Sterling does require that that we hit a certain goal every quarter. Otherwise, we are liable to leave. Like they can force us out if they want to.
Hmm.
I don't think that should happen. I don't know if we'll be able to hit that forecast, especially during the winter, just given that we're starting in the winter. But
Hmm.
realistically, from what we've heard, it shouldn't really be an issue.
Wow. Well, I'm just curious as well that since I mentioned about like being able to meet people like, the president of Jungbu, um, since, you started your own endeavor, kind of making the way in creating something new in a place that there's not much Korean food available. I'm wondering, like, you kind of committing to that journey, did that kind of open up much more, I guess, network or opportunities than you kind of initially thought of?
Yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. I mean, I think it's fascinating because in this industry, right, when you start something new, you automatic there's no boss figure, right? It's like you
Hmm.
are you are your own boss, and so now everybody is their own boss, and so you meet other people that are doing very similar things. It's not like when you're in a corporate world and you're like, oh, I wonder what tenure that person is, and they're the CEO and you're like an intern and you can't like talk to that person. It's not nothing is like that. It's
Hmm.
really like it's all about business, right? Like from their perspective, from our perspective, it'd be great if we could do business together and support each other and help each other.
Hmm.
And so regardless of, what status they have, obviously if they have more experience, then like I probably lean on them a little more and be like, hey, can I get some help? Or like, can I get more experience or understand your experience? But it's not like I don't know. I never came into this being like, oh, like I'm gonna, I expected to meet amazing, wonderful people, and I fully expected myself to view them as, peers, right? Like I don't view them, I think Matthew McConaughey. I was watching him the other day. He said
Yeah.
something that I really liked of, you should always treat everyone with respect, but never in awe, right? Because if you put them on a pedestal and you view them too high, then it basically limits your ability to have a conversation with them. It limits your perception. It
Hmm.
limits the ability for you to understand and connect with them,
Hmm.
which I think is such a true statement. Like they're the same people, and like the president of the was like that's a huge title, and like he serves probably millions of people a year, but he's just like a very nice down to earth person. Like we talked about some, I don't know, some random something, and like he was like he watches our videos, and so he was, he first, he was like, I've seen your Instagram, or like I've seen your TikTok. It's like that everything looks great, and so like it's a really cool experience, but I think
Hmm.
it's one where I'm a little, and I think I have my corporate background to thank for that, but like I think it's one of those things where yes, I have met a lot of cool people.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's just all, I think it's nicer than sort of the corporate side of things, if that makes sense.
Hmm. No, I haven't really thought about that, and that's a great quote that you mentioned as well. Yeah, especially when you're in corporal role, it's more like a hierarchy.
Yeah.
People kind of expect a certain type of way people would act in certain settings, and I guess when you're kind of working for yourself, I guess it's more of an equal where, yeah,
Yeah, because I
we
mean
can
it's
do
hard.
business. Yeah.
Also, because like when you're an intern, you're never gonna go talk to the CEO. It's not a thing, right? But like
Mm.
here, I'm technically by tenure wise, I guess I would be like the equivalent of an intern. But here I am talking to someone that's the equivalent of the CEO, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but to me, I don't view it that way. I don't care, right? For that, I mean, again, it's just business and sort of the dynamic that I'm in
Mm.
now, where
Hmm.
I'm very much representing a brand that I'm trying to create, and so it's no longer like, hey, like I'm this sort of like timid, like oh, like I don't. Yeah, there's definitely some awkward moments where like I'm just like I don't really know what to say here. These also because most people there are like significantly older than me, and everyone has a family and stuff, and I'm like, but yeah, I mean, it was great. I truly enjoyed the experience and just love getting to meet those kinds of people. I think
Hmm.
that it's fascinating to me because I'm in the industry now, so like that's right where I want to be and the people I want to meet.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, since we're talking about that, I know it seems like a lot of people nowadays are aspiring to start something new for themselves or even a side hustle. I guess for those people kind of starting to do their own thing, and I know you're still pretty early on, but um, how do you see that? Like, do you would you say that's a it's a good thing that more people are wanting to do their own thing? Do you see that as like a positive trend or happening that's moving forward too?
Yeah, it's actually it's interesting. I think when the next video that we put out is gonna touch on this a little bit, but I think namely if people are doing it for the right reasons, I think it is 100% a positive thing.
Mm,
I think where there's a little bit of danger once it becomes a trend, then people start to do it because it's a trend. I think then you start to run into a little bit of like, okay, if everybody's now doing this and everybody's now it's become a trendy thing, right? What is the
mm,
underlying like if people are truly passionate about what they are passionate about and willing to take the risk into trying something new, rather than the ability to tell somebody that they took the risk, right? Like if you care too much about telling other people that you took the risk, then you're probably not in it for the right reasons.
mm,
And so, like personally for me, I think it's great. I mean, to each their own, right? Like I could honestly, the honest answer is I could care less, right? Because I'm preoccupied with the life that I live now and the decisions that I've made. I have to take responsibility for it. But I think, I would love, if people are passionate about it and people are like, hey, like I'm stuck. I feel like I want to do it, but like I'm scared. Then I'm like, oh, you should 100, like don't be that scared. I think once you actually take the risk, you realize that a lot of it is more scary in thought than in reality.
mm,
But if it's one of those things where you're just like, oh, I see everybody doing it now, and I'm like, I think it's cool, and like maybe I should try it out, then I think you're
mm,
gonna get burned pretty badly because this is
mm,
not an easy thing where you can just sit here and go, oh, like in reality, like I talk to other people not work related probably once a week at the most. And those people already don't care that I'm doing my own thing. They already know. So I'm not over there like, ooh, like look at me, like I'm doing something cool. No,
mhm,
they don't care. They just, we just hang out and talk about other stuff. And so
mm,
if you're in it for those kinds of reasons, I have a feeling it'll be tough. But I think as long as you do it for the right reason, then absolutely, I think it's a great thing to do.
mm. Wow. Well said.
Yeah, and I guess I should also caveat that with like I think if you have consequence like it depends on your life stage, right? Like
Mm,
if you're young and in your 20s, then sure, no one's you're not harming anybody by trying it. Like no one cares. Like you should absolutely try something. But
mhm,
if you're in your 30s and 40s and you have a family and you have obligations and like then maybe your circumstances are very different from what you see and like it may not make any financial or it may not be responsible for you to do that. So like again, to each their own. I think there's a lot of circumstances that dictate sort of how you can behave. I think for me, I've been very, very privileged that I can
mhm,
take the risks that I want to take without harming
mm,
anybody. Like
mm,
my parents are very, they're stable in how they live, and my brother's doing great, and I don't have any kind of family obligations. I'm not in debt. Like there's just a lot of things that went on for me that I have the privilege
mm,
and the sort of the luck to be able to pursue something that I call my passion.
mm. Yeah, I think something that I'm personally very kind of jealous listening to you and your journey is that it seemed that number one, it made sense when you said, oh, like you were interested in going into the food industry. Like as someone who's seen that kind of dream start and expand, I was like, wow, this makes sense. And number two was that when you said that there was a niche to be filled or there was something that wasn't provided, which could be provided, and especially with the Korean culture being more accepted in the States as well, I thought it was just overall a lot of those signals were, great. And I think you just made the jump to kind of put that into action. And I felt that that was something that made me much more excited rather than seeing someone else saying, hey, like not to hate on anyone, but like, suddenly make a new Instagram account and then, start posting stuff about
Yeah.
something. I'm like, oh, cool, but like,
Yeah.
what problem are you solving? How are you, what kind of influence or impact are you trying to make in this world? And sure, that may be a good side hustle for them or project that they're passionate about. But for me, that your execution and your decision that was, it made sense for me. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm excited about too.
Yeah. That's great. And I mean, social media and whatever, there's a lot of ways to make money in the world. I think, like you said, I think if you have the good values that are designed to benefit society for better, to better it in some way, then I think you're probably on the right path.
Hmm. Now, I'm also curious as well. Like, how do you think you fell into that? Do you feel it was something that was naturally kind of there since young, but you just had to kind of be very honest with yourself, or is it something that was kind of built among time?
I think it's both. I mean, I think this is like, I don't know, maybe it's hindsight 2020. Maybe I'm like force fitting into to just like, but when I was young, I used to really like the Food Network. Like it was funny.
Mm,
I didn't really watch cartoons. I watched just a lot of Food Network growing up and essentially like Saturday mornings and whatever, like after watching TV after school, like I would be fascinated by food programs. And back at the time, it was like the really old school, like Food Network people like Giada De Laurentiis or Alton Brown and Guy Fieri on Diners,
mhm, mhm.
Dashing and Drives, I believe. But like I used to just like those are so interesting to me. So like back then I didn't think much about it. Like I didn't realize that was like other kids I guess didn't do that as much. And then so that I think there was a level of like innate like I really enjoyed watching those and like making those. I also really like sweets as a kid. So I still really like sweets, and so I really like baking. I still really like baking, and so I just like baking it and eating it just because it's sweet and really
Mhm,
tasty. So I would do that a lot as a kid. I if I was a little bit more aware about that and I realized that was something I was interested in and not just
mhm,
like for fun, maybe I would have thought about like doing culinary school or something like that.
mm,
I don't now I don't think I would have because I like the path that I chose. I think and all in all, I think business is still the fundamental sort of aspect of what I care about. But
mhm,
yeah, I don't know. Culinary school would have been fun. I think there's a lot of things that I could have taken away, or even baking school, pastry school. I actually thought about that as well for a little bit
mm,
in college. Didn't pursue it.
mm,
So I think there's a part of that, but also I think there's a part of this just like coming later down in life and being like, oh, like I didn't realize it, but I think there is a point of realization that like, hey, I think I really do like this, and I think I can do
mhm,
something with it.
mhm,
But things just don't click until much later down the road. And I think if I didn't have my business background or the experience that I did with Bain, then I don't think I would have known that it was possible to do something like this, and I think I wouldn't have done
mm.
it the same way that I am doing it now.
Wow, wow. I think that's something huge that I remember as well. You kind of said like, oh, that it would be possible to be able to do this, and I remember when you started in that corporate world here, you said that oh, like it's not like it's nothing crazy going on in the other side, and
Yeah.
that you're just meeting these people and doing the thing. Of course, it's a lot of work and hard long hours, but like the people you're meeting aren't like crazy crazy people.
There's
So.
normal people that took a risk and were
Yeah.
smart about it and got
Yeah.
lucky in many ways. And
Yeah. Hmm. Very cool. Yeah, no, I think that's something that I've been, recently thinking a lot more about as well. Just like, what's something that has been natural for me that it piqued my interest, and am I just avoiding some of those, or are they just hidden somewhere that I haven't really dug deeper into? So yeah, I just thought that was interesting to see your journey.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also think there's an element of like, the corporate life and sort of like just the basics of just having a job and being able to do well in a job. I think if I hadn't had that experience of working at Bain, I don't think I would have felt the same way that I do now about where I'm
Mm, mm-mm,
because I know that, I know what it's like to work a corporate job and I know I can do well at a corporate job and that I have value to give at a corporate job. I think there's no longer the need for me to prove myself to myself that I can belong in a crowd like that or that I would want to because
mm,
I've been there, because I've done, well in my own standards. And I was
mm,
able to come across that and be like, I don't have to go through that to know that I am good here, if that makes
mm,
sense.
mm-mm. Yeah, no, I think that's so true because if you think about it, since young, we go through these different primary, secondary, or middle school or high school, and every step of the way you're trying to get into this, more selective or better environment. And I guess when you get to a point where you realize, oh, like at the end of the day, like corporate world onwards, I don't know, like I guess that's it, right? Like it
Yeah.
depends on like what kind of company you go to and prestige if you want to per se. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you're fine with it, if you know that like you're worth that value and give it a shot. I think that's so important to
Yeah.
like understand it yourself rather than someone telling you that's the thing.
That's
Because
right.
if you don't feel it, I guess, it doesn't
It
really
doesn't matter.
happen.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm the type of person where I'm like, I always have to try it. Like I'm always very,
Mm,
I think I was reading your LinkedIn post. I actually enjoy reading them quite a bit. But I don't know who it was that said this in one of your LinkedIn posts, but it was like, people like nobody knows what they're doing, but like some people, they'll choose to do it anyway. And
mm,
that's right. It's like that's like the synopsis of everything in life. Like no one knows, no one can predict the markets, no one can predict how business goes,
mm,
no one can predict anything, regardless of how much experience they have. Maybe they know how to do something that gives them a better percentage of success, but it doesn't ever guarantee success. But
mm,
like doesn't matter, right? You do it anyway. That's why execution matters, right? Like
mm,
it's a numbers game. You try 10 times, and I think I've said this before at some in some other on some other week, but like you try 100 times, then your odds of getting lucky is 1 in 100. If
mm,
you try 1,000 times, then like you probably up those odds quite a bit, where like you just get, and naturally there's things that you learn, so maybe you increase your odds of success. It's just so I think that you have to be willing to come to terms with that.
mm. Well, yeah, no, I think something interesting that I've also witnessed over the years is that, well, number one, yeah, I do agree with that. That quote resonated just because I was kind of thinking about that as well. Like I talked to these people who are maybe, 10 years, 20 years ahead of me, and you realize a lot of these people did not really know what they were going at, but they give it their best. They were smart about it, they were intentional about it, they were, diligent about it, and luck kind of helped out along the way, and good opportunities came their way, and they were able to jump on that. So, yeah, it was interesting because there's definitely people who are very candid and they're like, hey, like I really don't know like how this happened. But there's also people who are like, oh, like I knew everything.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that difference itself. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I guess you can interpret it different ways, right? I mean, also if you're a person of faith and like, everything is already, everything's already set, right? Like so there's that perspective as well, where it's like nothing is really up to chance anyway.
Mm.
But like some people are like, oh, it's all 100% me. And sometimes I'm like, that doesn't seem quite right. But also if that level of confidence is what got them to where they got them to,
Mm.
then good for them.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, I do want to kind of touch upon the new renovation at the stall as well.
Yeah.
You said that, you're going to kind of painting with the new colors and I guess finalizing designs. Any snippets on what might happen at the stall?
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it brighter. It's
Okay.
right now it's very dark. I don't think dark is what we're going for.
Hmm.
As much as we like darker colors. I think we want to make it bright. We want to make it sort of come to life again. I
Hmm.
will say I had no idea the painting was so extensive. Like we were learning about like the spackling that you need to use, and like you have to fill all the holes, and then you have to take the screws out. Obviously, you have to clean the surface. You have to
Oh.
sand the surface to rough it up, and then you have to put a bonding primer on it, and then you have to put the paint on it. I Googled it like 4 times, and I Googled it 4 times. I like talked to ChatGPT about it, talked to Reddit about it. I went to a couple paint stores and got their like consultation. They were like, "Yeah, it seems about right." So I was like, "We are waiting for approval from the food hall." And actually, I just emailed them like right now, asking. I sent it to them last Friday, and so I'm looking to get it. Basically, I sent it to them last Friday. I was hoping to get approval for it yesterday, but they didn't get back to us yesterday or today. So I'm bumping the email so we can actually start painting within this weekend.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean things are bustling. We'll have to see if the way we paint it is correct. I think only time will tell. We're going to try our best and
Hmm.
listen to whatever these professionals online are saying.
Hmm.
But it will be brighter, and I think once we just paint this doll, I think it'll make a huge world of difference. Like I think it'll really brighten up the
Hmm.
area.
Apparently it's black.
It's
Is it?
like dark gray. Yeah, it's like a
Dark
black,
gray.
dark
Okay.
gray. Uh,
Okay. Cool. Cool.
it's super
Wow.
exciting. I think once you see the final like brand, like once you see the finals layout of the stall, I think it's gonna look fantastic.
Mm. Wow. No, excited. Excited. And what you also have the new mascot, is it? So we'll be able to
Yeah,
see that soon as well.
yeah. We have it's a rabbit. I can tell you it's a rabbit. It's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's like perfect. I think it fits the bill of what we want it to do. I think it's pretty unique. I think Erica is an incredible. I mean, she's basically designed the menu and the packaging already, and like it looks fantastic. Like we're very happy with it.
Hmm.
Just need to finalize a few things, and then we'll get the finalized results this Friday, and then we'll basically from Friday is going to be super busy because we basically need to order all the shirts, we need to order all the stamps for the bags, we need to order
Oh,
like all the stickers for the actual packaging, like it'll be an all hands on deck kind of activity, but I think we're super excited. I think it's gonna come to life.
wow. I guess I do want to kind of finish today's call off with kind of your quick rundown of what the strengths of your current team looks like for each individual. What are their strengths?
Strengths. That's a good question. I will say, I mean, you know, if we start with Jimmy, I think it's his strengths and my strengths are pretty evident and pretty different. I think Jimmy is sort of like the voice of reason. I think he's very sensible and like very business minded in the sense of like, hey, like it doesn't make sense to use that, you know, like cost wise, that's a little too expensive. Like it's not a good use of our time. He's also very good at taking on stress. Like he's very much a person that is just like, hey, like if something bad happens, then let's just like that's okay. Like it's in the past. Like let's run with it, let's roll with it, let's figure it out.
Hmm.
I will say that my strengths are a little bit different, right? I'm probably a little bit more intense. I'm probably a little bit more like very much like a consultant where like I need to get things done. Like the idea of execution to me means that you actually have to make the decisions and move on something.
Hmm.
But that also often means that sometimes I get pretty stressed pretty easily. And so that's where the sort of the balance between Jimmy and I come into play.
Hmm.
I will say for the most part, I'm very good, I think, with sort of the figuring out what needs to be done and being able to get that done on time and being able to sort of delegate that work between the right people. I will say that Tay, the sort of I don't know, he's not new anymore. So like the other member of the team is sort of like a nice in between. I think
Hmm.
I think one of his strengths is his ability to sort of understand. I think I don't know what it's called, but like he absorbs things and he's very sensible about the things that we feel. So in some sense, we're always on the same wavelength about like, hey, that sounds pretty reasonable. Like let's do that. And he's also very creative with food. We've actually put a lot of the product related activities to him, and like he's just nailed, you know, basically all of it. And so he's also very even keeled. Like he's not super emotional. Like he's very like balanced in his emotions, and he can control his emotions very well, which is going to be very important. Margaret, as always, I think is actually very similar to Tay in the sense of like she's very sensible. Like I think she understands things pretty well, and she's like when like she also knows like to not take work personally, and this is like a big thing that I've always is always echoed, but like you know especially when you work together like there's a lot of sort of differing opinions, there's always a lot of things that are always up in the air, but I think Margaret especially is very keen on that, and so she's able to pick up things pretty quickly and sort of from a EQ perspective, I think all four members of the team are very high on IQ as well. I think we're all very smart, but I think that EQ and sort of aligning to the same vision and sort of understanding what's reasonable and what we were trying to shoot for. I think that that is all on the same page, which I think is great. And so I think the team is feeling good. I think now that everybody's back and like I think it's also nice because everybody feels like we're equally committed to this project of ours.
Hmm.
And so I think that's always helpful because at the moment like one person is just like, oh, like, hey, like, you know, I'm busy or like, hey, I can't do this, then it becomes very tough. But I think everybody's like, hey, like, I will do the work that is assigned to me and like I will figure it out. And like if I need help, I'll ask. But I think just the fact that everybody's so willing to do it is very helpful for sort of the team dynamic.
Wow. Sounds like a team of superstars. And
Right. That's what we're trying
wow.
to build.
Wow. Excited for the launch. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's a few weeks left, but definitely yeah, looking forward to all the new changes that would happen physically in the stall, but also starting for the actual launch and uh, I guess when Chicago is able to start tasting your food. So
Yeah. Thanks, man. We're excited.
cool. Lovely week, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good, man. See ya.
Yeah.